Welcome everyone to the Watchlist, your virtual weekly TV guide right here on the Latin Nerds Network. Ready to talk about all the shows, film, documentaries released on streaming over the past week. Give you our best recommendations or non-recommendations as the case may be. And as always, letting you know what's coming out at the end of the show so you too can create your very own watch list. Joining us as always is Senor Jaime, aka Chewy, who's in a very good mood. Despite his US hating,
USA, USA, you. Oh, sorry.
Colombia dispatching USA very easily in a friendly game yesterday.
Hold on, let me get my cannibal
Making
pass.
quick
I'm working
work.
somewhere.
Um, that really should be the subject of today's in memoriam is the USA team. But we haven't done these in a while. We haven't done things have been kind of smooth sailing, but we got some bad news. So we'll start with that or in memoriam. As far as
Yesterday.
cancellation, we
Yeah.
had another show that is Tokyo Vice on Max canceled after 2 seasons, which is a show I think we both liked. And I liked the second season a lot more than the first, to be honest with you. I thought it was a huge improvement. And I was kind of looking forward to a third season. But nay, the powers that be have vetoed that. And Max is, sent another one to the dust. Yeah, so,
I
I
can
mean,
swear.
whatever. I mean, these things sometimes can get picked up by somebody else. It's possible.
No,
Yeah.
like I said, it was a good show. I think it, obviously just because it was a combination of English and Japanese. That's always going to present
Yeah,
an
of
issue
course.
for an audience to pick up and enjoy. Unless it's great, a la Shogun, where it's not an issue. But when it's not great, but
It's
not
good.
middle of the
It was a
road,
good, solid show. It
it's
really was. Yeah.
it
Yeah.
becomes very nichey. Yeah, as far as audience enjoyment, and where you can sit there and watch it versus I got to read subtitles every other line,
No,
right? So
it is what it is, and then you
whatever,
have the
it is what it
audience,
is.
obviously.
Doesn't
No,
doesn't mean it
there's
wasn't a
a
good
lot,
show
a
to
lot of good
enjoy
shows get canceled.
once,
We see this
but
all the time,
yeah,
right? It goes both ways. But yeah, this is one of them. So if you're looking for a season three, look elsewhere. But that's okay. There's always other stuff, and we'll talk about some of this other stuff now. We'll do this in two stages. The first one, we'll do a quick takes on the majority of the shows that get released, and then we'll do a feature section. Pick one or two shows and take a little deeper dive into them. So let's get started. It was actually a pretty big week. We'll start with let's go a little Hulu, FX Hulu, and that's Clipped. This one here is a dramatization of the story of Donald Sterling on his run, one of the worst owners in sports history. Of course, the Clippers, starring Lawrence Fishburne as Doc Rivers, who's the coach of the team. We got Ed O'Neill, of course, Al Bundy himself being Don Sterling. Yeah, this one here is taking some liberties, I am sure, but those remember back in 2013, 14, or whatever, there's a
13, yeah.
tape that surfaced which painted him in the same light he was always painted because he was always a racist and not exactly the most beloved for sports figure, and this kind of goes into it.
It
Yeah,
just
it became
became
exactly.
public.
So it's cool. 2 episodes dropped. I'm enjoying it. It's a really well paced. It's nothing I didn't already know. It's not groundbreaking TV, but it's a solid watch on Hulu. So I'll say put on the watch list, Chewy.
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Like I said, it's still relevant. It involves basketball, it involves contemporary basketball because we know a lot of these players that were on the Clippers team at that time. Griffin, Jordan,
Chris
DeAndre
Paul.
Jordan, Chris Paul, who does
Yeah,
his State Farm commercials, or at least used to. Their portrayal. And there's a lot of funny lines in there, especially with Doc Rivers, Lawrence Fishburne, and one of the coaching sessions. He's literally digging into each one of them, picking on them because he wants to motivate them. That
yeah,
was
no, it's
actually
cool.
pretty
Yeah,
hilarious. I mean,
I mean,
he just ripped them
it's
on.
not winning time, but it has its moments. And Elden was very good at the role. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
say put on. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, many times dealing with the Lakers, honestly, this is just
The,
dealing with the
the,
Donald Sterling
yeah, this is the
fallout
antithesis
and
of
the issues with that,
Dynasty. That's for sure. Um, the next one here,
to
we got
say the least.
documentary on Netflix, Hitler and the Nazis, Eva on trial. This one, of course, takes episode run, documenting, of course, the Nuremberg trials for the, trying to win the comeuppance to those hierarchies of the Reich. And as it's going through the court and trials, kind of recapping, Hitler's rise to power and what happened, all that. So,
The events,
Chewy
yes,
on the watch list or not?
yes, absolutely, man. Like I said, this is done in very not only informative but entertaining in a way where as much as you can put this entertaining, but not just giving you facts and figures, but giving you real voices, real recordings, or real portrayals of people who were there at that time and giving their perspective and giving a rundown of what they saw. And so, like I said, a little different take on some of the History Channel ones we've seen before. There's no shortage of plethora of Nazi and Hitler documentaries, especially on Netflix. But if you go to History Channel or Nat Geo, you'll find plenty. But this was actually trying to stand above some of the other ones and giving a little different spin, different take as far as
Yeah,
explaining what
listen, if you're
happened and how it happened.
a history buff, this is for you. It's as simple as that, right? It can be a little bit dry as most of these kind of documentaries are, but yeah, on the watch list. If you're into history, you want to learn something, this is good. Next one, another documentary on Netflix. Is a docu-film, actually about an hour and 20 some minutes. How to Rob a Bank. A fascinating true story here about a man who was inspired by Point Break. Of course, the Patrick Swayze, Keanu Reeves film back in the 90s. This took place right in the 90s where this guy who, was living in Seattle when they were just bursting economically at the time with the rise of grunge and Starbucks, Amazon, Microsoft, you name it, right? Seattle was a scene. A lot of banks rose, and this guy took it upon himself to begin robbing banks for years. Became the number one, most wanted list on FBI, and it kind of tells a story how they try to go after him. People who are involved, they speak to them, they speak to the authorities. This is really cool. I actually like this. This one really played out like a movie, in how, particularly how it ended, how it's really cool, very entertaining, fascinating story. I had this guy kind of very cerebral in his approach to robbing banks after the first one, which was a disaster. But really cool. I like this one a lot. On the watch list, Chewy.
I
Really?
couldn't
Oh,
finish it, man. I was it was just I don't know.
fair
Maybe I was just
enough.
in a bad mood. I was just bored. I think after 20
Okay,
minutes, I
fair
was like,
enough.
I'm
I
out.
get it. Once it gets to the first
So
one, and they talk about his
yeah.
life. Once I get into the robbing banks and what they do to accomplish it, I thought it was very interesting. Very smart guy, and he has some really cool stuff. Um, Next one, I don't watch. I know you do, Chewy. It's Sweet Tooth. This is the final season. How it goes so far? I figure.
Great, man. It's a great show. I really enjoy it, and so I'm glad that they're bringing it to closure for 3 seasons. But for me, it's always on the watchers. I
Yeah,
really
I know
enjoyed
people
it
do
from the
like this
beginning.
show, so we haven't caught it. Catch up to now with 3 seasons and all that. Next one here is a film, Netflix film. Got a lot of praise when it went, the theater circuit and all that, film festivals and exactly, etc. 90 some percent Rotten Tomatoes. Glenn Powell here is kind of a somewhat true story, I guess, about a true individual. Glenn Powell plays this mild mannered, college professor. He moonlights with the police. He's kind of tech savvy. He does a lot of surveillance.
How does that work, dude? I want to take a
Yeah,
side
it's,
dive
it's
on
like, like a,
that. And the police, not as a IT, not as a front desk clerk, as an undercover
yeah. I mean, he was
agent.
more on more on
Really?
this, on the surveillance side, but
Hey, man. All I can say is
yeah.
like only in
But
New
like I said,
Orleans, dude.
this
That's
was
all I
true. So
can
it's kind
say.
of funny. And then this guy, I guess, yeah, circumstances
Yeah,
that
no,
they
yeah, it's
forced
true.
him
Yeah.
to, they had this sting operation where the undercover cop pretend to be a hitman, right? And they kind of set these people up and arrest him, and he was forced into that role. And this guy's very mild manners. That the least guy you expect to be a hitman is him. So he kind of really jumps into the role, creates his personalities and looks, and really dives into him being a quote unquote hitman, tracks people down. And one day he meets a girl, you know how it is, and becomes kind of a romantic kind of thing, and he's trying to help her, etc., etc. This one, I gotta admit, I was disappointed. I really was. I think expectations were higher than they should have been. I didn't think it was that funny, to be honest with you. I liked the story, I liked him, but as a comedy, it did not work, and I kept hearing how funny it is, and it's just not. Not a bad film. I go with the right expectations on the watch list, looking at something funny. This is not it, Chewy.
So I agree with you not not being as funny as advertised.
It's a cool story. It
But
really
I
is a
still
cool story.
enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Right, like I
it
said,
really
it's a
is.
very interesting story. Especially with most of it. Well, I mean, like, I don't know what you consider most of it, but the large swaths of the movie are based on actual the guy's like there. I think his name was Gary Johnson, and so
No, it
that was
really,
the
and
interesting
I wish
part.
I had more fun with it. Because with the personalities, I don't think they went as far as it could have been very farcical. It didn't get that as far as I wanted to. Again, not a bad film, just not a funny one, right? It's a difference. But I'm on the fence on that one. But yeah, so either way. So those are the quick takes features for the week. We got a couple, a couple. Oh, sorry.
Actually, I mean, I'm going to give you I call it an audible. There's one that we missed that dropped on
Uh,
Disney Plus, but it's actually Nat Geo. Easy. Jesus, man. Already with the hate for Disney Plus, my God,
it's
dude.
never too early to
It's
hate
too
on
early,
Disney,
man.
dude.
It's too early. It's a series. It's a 4-part series documentary
Okay.
called Erased. And obviously, because we just had D-Day this past week, so there's obviously a lot of World War II remembrance and memorials going on. But this one deals specifically with the forgotten colored people of that participated in World War II, and many stories that were whitewashed, literally completely erased from the annals of history for whatever. Well, obviously because of the times, right, and obviously a lot of the U.S. Army was definitely segregated, to say the least. So this we focus on just four groups, four different sets of people, and tells their story through reenactment, through living family members, through some of the recordings that we were able to get before they died. Excuse me. And it's something very interesting, and it really gives you a different perspective on heroes from World War II that obviously that were pushed aside because of the time that it happened, and what was going on here, what was going on in
It's
Europe and
technically
other places.
Nat Geo, so maybe I would
So
check
very
I'm
good.
into that stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's
Oh.
narrated by Idris Elba, who had actually had his, I think, father or grandfather, probably father, who was a soldier in World War II as well. So I think that's what drove him to dig deeper into the history and uncover stuff that was, not I would say forgotten, but I think probably
Okay.
purposely erased. And I made a joke to my wife. I was watching this. I've been watching this and see what's happening, and I go, "Thank you, Spielberg. I blame you." So when we see Saving Private Ryan, there's no minorities around it. It's like, hello, hello. Not that didn't happen. Not that the story's not great, but tell the full story. Don't
That's how
whitewash
we know how that's how it
history.
goes. Let's be
That's
real.
what I'm saying.
Let's keep real.
I know.
That's
I
cool.
don't
Yeah.
know.
No,
But we
no,
need
yeah.
sto- we
Okay.
need stories
I'm gonna check
like
this one
this
out.
to
I
give
really like
us
that
the
stuff, so
real the
I
real
was not aware.
picture.
So
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, and it's
perfect.
only 4 episodes, right? So it's very good, and it goes through Army, Navy. It goes through the four different groups. It even brings in the Indian participation because obviously they were they were a UK part of the UK Empire at that time. So it brings in a group of them and gives their
Cool. It's a
story
light
from their
week
perspective as
this week,
well.
particularly early on, so I might give that a shot. Um,
Yeah.
Features, man, we got two of them. First one, Mayor of Kingstown, a show we really enjoyed on Paramount
Oh,
Plus. We don't say that very often. Releasing its third season beginning.
we say it often enough, dude.
I
There's a
said
lot of good
often. I
stuff
mean,
in
so we don't
Paramount
say it at
Plus.
all. There's a difference because they don't release a lot of things, right? To be fair.
Yeah. Okay.
But the hit rate's pretty good. I'm just kind of joking around, but for me, this is probably their best show. Some marquee show may not be the right term, but for me, the marquee show, I think personally. Jeremy Renner, of course, Hawkeye.
I
Well,
don't
okay,
know
that's
how your
fair. No,
Yellowstone
fair.
is, but
You're right. I forgot
whatever.
about that. You're right. But for me, I'm not big. I don't watch Yellowstone enough to be honest with you. It's a good show. It's just not for me. This one
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
actually watch.
you know.
It's the beginning of season 3, only one episode, of course. Second one dropping now, which I'll be watching soon. I've enjoyed the show. It's really cool. But Jeremy Renner plays. It's not really the mayor. They call it that, but there's is it Michigan, Detroit? I forgot where they're at. I don't remember.
Yeah, I believe
Yeah, it's
I
kind of
think
this
it's
area where it's
Michigan.
near this,
I hope it is.
correctional facilities, and Jim Reynolds kind of the go between keeping the peace amongst all
Yeah, between the police and various factors of police. Obviously,
Mhm.
you got the permanent corrections. You have your cops and whatnot and higher ups, and then obviously the criminal
And
element,
outside, yeah,
both inside
things
the correction
happen. He has
system and
to
outside,
maintain cool heads and keep the peace and broker
dealing with
deals and
various
exactly
gang
make sure nothing goes
factions,
wrong. So
right?
things
Yeah.
always go wrong is the criminal element always brings aboard. Yeah, this I gotta say, what a great episode this was. Really good start to the season. I mean, just jumps right in, explosive. For those who've seen it, no pun intended. But it was very good. It's a cool. Yeah, I know.
How you like the
It's a
Reds?
really cool show. I like what direction, picking up right where we left off with the death of, I don't spoil anything, but the death of his mom. And things just escalate from there, and we get introduced to the new baddie and all that, the new protagonist, antagonist. Very good, man. This is a really good show. I'm really enjoying it. And usually we don't deep dive into shows that are 2 or 3 seasons in, but this is really good. And if you have Paramount Plus, if for those who haven't seen it, this is such a high recommend for me. And Chewy.
Yeah. No, absolutely, and obviously it's good to see
Mm.
Jamie Renner back at work because I was very
Oh,
much
it's a
so it's
life
like
threatening accident he had.
almost killed himself.
There's no
Yes,
exaggeration.
yeah, I mean, ran over by one of these snowcats trying to save. I was a nephew that was stuck, and so obviously very serious injury, very serious accident. almost killed him, and it's good to see him back to full health, and obviously, and probably one of our favorite shows in
Yeah, no, that
Paramount.
I mean, and I think with the new baddie was introduced, I like that. But it's just I love the relationship between him and the drug dealer guy, the big guy. Such an interesting dynamic.
Oh,
Eh,
yeah,
yeah, there you go, Bunny.
yeah,
Yeah, go
Bunny.
figure.
Yeah,
But yes, it's a really good show, man. It's just one that I highly recommend. This is it's close to must watch on Paramount. I'm not gonna say it's must watch TV. I'm not gonna go that far, but it's definitely on the upside of the hierarchy as far as that. Just any shows in general, but Paramount for sure. I mean, yeah, Yellowstone, this one, Tulsa King, I really liked. Yeah, it's a
well,
really cool
Tuscan
show.
loves. I like Halo. If you're a fan of Star
Uh,
Trek, we're playing Star Trek, and then just wrapped up
sure.
the Discovery series, which I liked at the beginning. And I kind of tuned up at the end, but like I
Yeah,
said, it was
yeah,
still
this,
good.
yeah,
The
this one.
first
I
couple
think
seasons I
this is
liked
one
a lot.
people need to give a chance.
Um, the Lioness
That was
coming back
solid.
for season
They were solid.
two,
Like,
so there's a lot
Paramount's
of
still
good stuff on
solid. Like,
there.
they don't release a
Yeah,
lot of things, but
yeah.
they're solid, right? I mean, it's not Apple. Let's be honest, but it's not bad. It's better on Peacock.
That's true.
Tell you right now. But yeah, definitely again, Mayor Kingstown opening its third season. This next one here, surprised you wanted to bring it up. So anybody who starts hating, this
Well,
is,
this is great for
but it is what it
discussion,
is.
dude.
Discussing
So
the feature doesn't mean it.
let's go.
The show
No,
doesn't always
no,
have to be great when we do a
dude.
feature section. Right? Just the shows worthy of discussions, right? And the Acolyte, of course, got released
Yeah.
a newest Star Wars show on Disney Plus, dropping 2 episodes out of 8 in total. That's going to be. I got to see this in the theater. Put my review on there. We talked about nerd splaining. I haven't been able to drop the show. We got really in depth in it because me and Eric were kind of on the same page. And I'll say this, right? It's not a terrible show. It's not a good show. It's got some good things in it, which I really liked, and it's got a lot of crap, like a lot of really, really, really bad writing on the show. It's just frustrating and typifies my frustration with Disney when it comes to these shows, these properties like Star Wars, which you and I are huge fans of, right? Let's obviously we call you Chewie. Hello, and they just continue to fail to give us great stuff. I just want good stuff. And this show has not given me good stuff yet. It could be. It really could be at the end of the show. I'm thinking this is a really cool show. I have no faith in it because usually that's not how it turns out. And what they're giving me now is just, I'll be nice and say it's mediocre. But again, it's again Disney failing to focus on a good story. The old bait and switch, not only with Carrie and Moss, right? Who
Look, I got no issues. Well, they didn't bait and switch because it's not like they put billboard. This is
she
not like
was in
Apple with
all
with
the
with
promo
with the
work,
guy
the
from
post.
Jurassic
I'm
Park.
looking at a poster right now with her
Well,
like in,
yes, and she's in it. She's got an episode. She's
and
there,
I don't mind. The show's
right?
not bad because
And she had put very, very, very
it's
cool.
it's
Makes
not
herself
bad because
private.
she's not in it.
I
But
you know,
it's just want to talk about different things, right? But
yeah. I mean, they kill. Spoiler. Yes, obviously we're
yeah.
talking about it because they kill him first episode. So be it. Um,
No.
what are
That
you gonna
part
do?
that's a
What are you
fine.
gonna do?
That's
Not
neither
tell
here nor
anybody?
there. But if this look,
This isn't GI.
listen,
This
it's got
is
some
a
good
GI
stuff.
show.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
got some decent
where
stuff
nobody
in it, right?
dies.
I love. I mean, you got the Wookiee Jedi is always awesome. Let's just make that perfectly clear. And we'll probably see more of him in third episode.
Well,
To hear third
of course,
episode is
yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's the fourth one I heard is not
yeah.
good.
Mm.
Um,
Look. This is. So I obviously, I'm happy I'm the Star Wars
obviously.
apologist here now, which usually Eric the
And
Silva,
Eric is Eric is in the middle. He was like
to
right in the
say the
middle.
least.
He's like it's good and it's bad. He
Okay,
no decisions. I haven't really made my decision yet. It just does far.
okay,
But
yeah,
I mean,
you
I'm
want
not
to see the
impressed.
end, okay.
And like I said, a lot of these shows, right, whether continuing seasons or whatever, you have to come guns blazing, right? Let's be honest. I'm not saying every great show does that, but you got to put your best foot forward, right, and get you hooked. And these 2 episodes didn't exactly do that. It just okay, it's fine. Um, and considering where Star Wars is at, right? We're talking about these shows not living up, not maybe Andor might be the few
I
exceptions,
mean,
but
Andor is yeah probably well
right.
one we really enjoyed.
Ugh.
The Obi-Wan, we liked Obi-Wan, but the story, the Keystone Cop moments were just that was my issue with that. Not that it was a bad show. There was a lot of good stuff in there. It was good to see Hayden Christensen, especially in that action. But we have the place where they're leaving. They're trying to escape the base, and she's the girl or Leia's underneath the robes, right? Like I said, Keystone Cops moments, right? That just detracted from it. Yes, the
Oof,
Ahsoka I enjoyed. It was probably some people you found too
not
slow
good.
or too much
I didn't like that
dialogue
show.
and
Yeah,
stuff,
that was not a good show.
but it
Yeah.
wasn't like I like that. I liked it in spite of some of the things because it was better than Obi-Wan, better than
Oh, the
House
Boba
of
Fett one was
Fett or
awful.
whatever it's called. Yeah, which was that was the hodgepodge. Okay, let's just get something out there
Yeah,
quickly and
it's
slap it
just
together and push it out,
right
and
for
basically
sure. But
wasted
that's
Boba
been the
Fett
issue with me.
and that character. But when I compare it to which I think is a show we like, at least I do,
The Mando's
The
good, of
Mandalorian,
course.
right? And The Mandalorian
Well,
is basically
it's
just a
really
video game.
the last
That's all
season
it
was not
is.
good.
You
Yeah,
know, and
yeah.
but all the
No, no,
seasons
of
has
course,
always
good.
been video games.
Yeah,
Mission,
yeah.
adventure
It's a
complete.
different kind of
Mission,
show.
adventure
It's a different
complete.
kind of show.
It's a
Yeah,
video game. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's still Star Wars.
Well,
Don't
I'm
start
I
making
listen. I said I
excuses.
like
It's still
Mandalorian.
Star
Yeah,
Wars. And so Star Wars has and always be for kids. And I said this to you many years ago when big white Hope Mike was on with us, and you were complaining. Especially he was complaining. He's really complaining now, but even back then he was complaining about the quality of shows. And I said this has always been and always will be a kids show, and to expect it to be grown up because we are now grown ups. You guys are setting yourselves up for failure because every show, we talk about this every show, dude, especially you, and now I guess Eric Silva has gone to the dark side. We're wanting greatness. We wanting great TV. We want Game of Thrones. We want Shogun. And I'm sorry to break it to the audience. It's never going to happen with Star Wars because it is a kids show, and you need to have that mentality. Because if you don't, you're going to be disappointed. Oh,
yes.
the writing, all
I
the
always
convenience, all
say
that this. You know what? And with Mandalorian, for some reason, because they had Grogu, everybody loved it. But look deep down,
of
it's a
course.
video
Yeah.
game, and it's a video game if video games make great TV, no, it's entertaining. Yes, I like it because I love Grogu, I love the Mandalorian, and I love Star Wars, right? To a certain degree. I still have my issues with a lot of the movies where the directions and things they did and bringing back Palpatine, what a mistake. But I know what the expectation is, right? And if you set that expectation, there's a kid show and it's something. Can you sit there and watch it? I sit there with my son, and like I said, my son probably has a perspective because he's not a legacy fan, right? He wasn't around for the original New Hope or Return or Empire Strikes Back, right? So this is not his generation. He is later on born, obviously 2000. So all this stuff is whatever. It's history
Sure.
as far as he's concerned, right? It might as well be Die Hard. Which he probably hasn't seen the whole movie yet, but whatever. We'll fix that problem somewhere. Um, and so he takes a perspective, okay, compared to stuff we watched, and he sat there and enjoyed it and liked it. And for him, it's yes, right? And he doesn't like a whole lot. He doesn't like the Halos and all the stuff that I watch. So I know he's very discerning on the type of shows that he watches. And I look at his perspective, how I'm looking at it. And so, there's obviously there's a big dichotomy between where how critics are rating this, and then obviously this is being reviewed bomb. And it's just there's no way this is 28%. I'm
No,
sorry,
it
it's
has
not.
been review bump,
This
but
is
it's
not.
but this is
This
the
is not. This is
but
not
there's an
food
issue with
finish.
like but I don't know the time with Star Wars is very polarizing, right? And I mentioned this in my review, right? You got a lot of people bombing it for it and haven't even seen it.
I mean, you
Well,
have
not that.
people
I
with
think
the
people. I think
expectation of this is they have people. No, yesterday they have people with nostalgic remembrance of Star Wars, right? And elevating it to a point where they expect it to be, but that is such. It masks what even if I go back and honestly sit down and go through what say Star Wars, right? It's not like it was a great movie, but it had his idea and it elevated and when you think back at it, it brings so much nostalgia, right? Of Luke Skywalker, everyone the Force. But if you break it down to was it a great
no,
movie?
I
Not
agree.
really, because it had
I
hokey
totally
writing.
agree.
It had, never mind how it looked. It's a
I'll
product of
say
its
this
time,
because it's
right?
not
It was
really
all
for
physical
me.
effects.
Like, because what you hear when it gets put in the forefront, right? And I talked about this where you got one side people bombing up because of the nostalgia. There's all this I'm gonna call it the woke stuff and the agenda that Disney presumably has, right? And that's listen about I'm not saying it's right or wrong.
I'm looking at the
Oh,
story. I'm looking at the story. It's like, what do you? Why is everything? Why does everything you don't like have to be? Oh, it's got they're going to war. It's a
I
story
get it.
about the Acolyte.
But
Are they
I'll
trying to
say,
push Pride Month or something?
this is
Have
why
an
I
issue
bring this
with
up,
Pride
right?
Month or
Because you have
what?
the bombing, a lot has to do with that, and I get it, right? And but
Imagine
listen, I
before the
get
bombing.
that perspective. I'm not saying I agree with it, but I do get to a certain degree because when you have the director saying specifically telling a story about LGBTQ or whatever, right? The mindset for any director, tell a story and incorporate the elements. And it seems like the perception that they're doing it backwards, right? One of the other directors saying, "I want to make men uncomfortable." You shouldn't do a show about making men.
I'm not. Where is it
Listen, no,
uncomfortable?
I'm not saying
In
this
the
show.
two
I'm just saying
episodes
that
I've
the
seen,
director of this show, another show, have mentioned it. That's what I'm saying, right?
I don't know, but that well, she has a history because,
I know,
but I mean, even
but
for
you
that
got.
first
Hold
show,
on,
which
let
was
me finish real
canceled
quick before you
before.
do saying that. Okay, right? But they're
Okay,
saying
okay,
this, so that's what
okay.
they're throwing out. So people are gonna run away with it, right or wrong, right? But on the other side,
Well, it's wrong.
maybe,
I mean,
but
it's
I get
wrong.
what
It's
they're
not
saying
even right
because you can't
wrong.
have,
It's wrong.
Kathleen Kennedy forces female. You're putting out a message, and what is that message saying? That you're prioritizing females, and this is primarily not fun. I talk about this in this spreading with comic books. This is more for guys than it is women. It just is. Because women aren't into this stuff as much as guys are. The women who love this stuff, of course.
Yeah,
Of course,
into
right? But that's
sci-fi
what I'm
and
saying.
Star
And
Wars.
now there
I
are
mean,
a bunch of guys saying, "Oh, we want to relate to men." That's just how it is. Like, women go see romantic comedies for a reason, and guys don't. Right? There's a reason for it, and it's okay. But you can't have this perception being forced on. You can't have the director saying, "I want to make the core audience uncomfortable on purpose." You can't say that, and expect people to think, "Well, you're not woke."
okay.
But and
Well, based on what
but
you've
then the other side. But
seen
wait,
on what you've seen what you've seen on the show,
I
what between these two episodes has saying,
I
oh, there's a
agree.
gay character, but
I
it
listen.
has to be you have to be
Sure.
inclusive, or there's something in the story
Well,
that says, oh, this is well, there's
man,
nothing in the story. As far, they're giving us a
maybe.
snapshot where they're giving us a complete picture of the Jedi Order at a time that we haven't seen because we've been so everything we've seen is Luke Skywalker centric,
No,
right? There
and
was
that's
no
great.
Jedi, there was
I
no
like
Jedi
that. I
Order.
like that.
It was just a couple guys,
But
and
the
now we're
problem is,
moving into
if you look at the critics,
30
and I'm
years
not
later.
talking when you read some of the comments in the critics side, which gave you an 80%, what something ridiculous. This show is so far from 90, it's not even funny. I don't care who you are.
Well, if you look at it was probably
It's
like
not
close
even
to
close to
75,
that.
80
It's not even
than the
close to
90s.
that. But I hear and I read it. Oh, the diversity is so great. Diversity. You got people on both ends hating diversity and those loving. You can't love a show because it's diverse. I'm sorry, you can't. There's nothing important about it. Nobody gives a shit. The show can be complete. The show can be diverse and have this, and that's wonderful. That's great. But the show is not good because of it. And when you mention it in your reviews, that's not a good thing.
No, that diversity
It's it's
is a
just
result of the
no.
way the
But
Jedi Order
I get,
was. If you look
but I'm
at the
talking about
history,
diversity of the
I mean,
actors and inclusion. But that's what I'm saying. That's what they're bringing
well,
up. Like that's a big deal. First of all, that's the way it should be. Number two is a different discussion. A show's not bad and it's
yeah,
not good because of the cast. You have a trans person, you have someone gay, you have a Latino. But that's what I'm saying. But now you
oh,
have people
gotta be
hating
the
it because
story.
it does, and you have critics loving it because it does. And that's a huge issue for me because listen, you come to the show all white people. As long as the story is great, I don't give a fuck. I.e., look at Game of Thrones for the most part, right? Let's face it. There's not a lot of diversity there. No one complains and no one raves or disgraces about it. The problem with Star Wars is that people are raving about it, making it seem the show is really good because who gives a fuck? I want diversity too, but the show could be all white or all black. I don't care. Make it good. Let's worry about diversity second. When you get those on the other end who being force fed this idea of like the show's good. Look, it's got someone who's trans, got some, and that's not a reason to like the show, right? Make a good story first, then worry about making an agenda, make people uncomfortable. For Kevin Feige wants more females, don't put more females in it just for the sake of doing it. Do it because it's part of the story, and they're not doing that. I.e., look at Miss Marvel, right, or the Marvels, right? They put in three characters have nothing to do with each other in a film because they're all three female, and look what happens, right? They forgot about the story. And this shows an example with a director who wanted to talked about doing a story in a certain way about the identity of certain things and how she feels being gay and all, and that's great.
See, I mean, if you don't listen
No,
to the noise,
I
it's kind
agree.
of good. You just sit there and watch it.
Agree.
And because
But the
like I
show's
said,
not
I know
good.
nothing about this director.
Yeah.
I didn't hear any of this stuff until
Oh no,
after I started watching the
I've
show.
heard it's
Before this, I was
leading
like,
up to it,
Acolyte,
but this is the
okay,
problem.
I'm watching it.
If
So
the
the
show is
trailer,
well written,
I'm watching it.
this is a non-issue. But the show it's not well written. It's just objectively speaking, right? People can like a show, not like a show. I get it.
No, but like I said, this is written as I've seen
Right.
other Star Wars shows written.
But not because
Not
it's
as
geared for
glaring,
kids.
not as bad as like I said. Obi-Wan was where I saw it was just.
Listen,
I said he when if you give
but
me Keystone
listen,
Cops because you pin yourself in the
you
corner,
mentioned yeah,
that's
of
not
course.
good
You
writing,
mentioned the kid thing,
and
right? But
everybody
it's
can
meant for
see
kids,
that.
and I agree. But so
Okay,
is Pixar, and that writing is absolutely top notch. You can't make kids shows and make them intelligent and kid friendly, adult relatable, and well written. I don't care if Star Wars is made for 5-year-olds. Fine, the 5-year-olds all love it, but doesn't mean you can dumb it down and do something ridiculous because it's for kids, and that's my issue. Yes, it's for kids. I agree, and it should be for kids and adults, right? Just make it good. We've seen good animated films, kids films, which are stellar. We've seen it, right? So it has nothing to do with it being meant for kids or not. Adults don't like. Adults should like kid stuff. Anybody doesn't like Pixar doesn't have a heart. That's the way I look at it, right?
yeah, but see, Pixar is a little different because they're making movies, they're animated that happen to be for kids.
Exactly
I
my
mean, they're
point.
not. It's not. They're just making an animated movie. They're not saying I'm
But
making a
but
kids movie. They're
but the
making if they're
demographic the
making a movie
demographic is for
using
kids, right?
animation to
Sure.
and throwing in adult, not language, but adult themes and
And
adult
right, and they
writing
do that to keep the
into an
adult
animated
attention, but
movie.
it's still kid friendly, right? You do animation. No one says I'm doing it unless you're
Yes.
doing anime.
Yes.
But there's no major movie
Okay. Yeah.
studio
Yeah.
saying
Okay.
I mean it's
Yes.
animated kids for adults. No one's saying that because that's what they're saying. They're never gonna make it, right? They're never gonna make it.
Well, I mean, I would
You
argue
know.
some of the ones we've
Well,
seen.
that's
Blue
I
Samurai
said
ain't
anime.
for
That's
kids.
adult oriented thing. That's directly.
Well, that's an
Right.
adult show. Well, because Castlevania,
Of course,
that's an adult
but
show.
they
That
target
ain't for
adult show, right?
kids.
Star Wars, and I agree, Star Wars for kids, and no doubt. But making kids still make it good. It's not an excuse to downplay the script because it's for kids. Who cares? And I'll say, as
No,
bad as Star Wars
but
is,
I'm still enjoying it. I mean, I'm still enjoying the show, especially compared to some of the other ones we've seen. Where this is for me is a lot
but
better than
again, it's
those.
now looking at expectations.
Obi-Wan and House of Fett are
Of
the
course,
bottom of
but
the
just because
barrel,
this is better
right?
doesn't make it good.
But by far. And on the other explanation, we have Andor because it was really Star Wars. It was a Star Wars universe, but it was a rebel story. It wasn't no Jedi, no Sith. It
And
was
I'll say
just kind of giving
the
us a
biggest
glimpse
difference
of
is the
behind the
writing
scenes.
in those shows. This is that simple. And if you look at the original trilogy, yeah, the first Star Wars isn't that good. And I agree with you 100%. It's overrated, right? It really is, but we love it. It's fun. It's fantastic. I get it, right?
Yeah, and even
Of
the third
course.
one,
And which a lot of people don't
I
like. And
don't
that's
know
fine,
how
fair
much you
enough.
watch
But the
anymore.
best film out of those three, by far, I consider one of the exact, and that
Well, the
is
second
so
one, yeah.
far not for kids, is not even funny. And I don't see no one saying, "Oh, that movie's not good. It's not for kids," because that's we've seen Star Wars at its highest peak, and that's Empire. Everyone agrees it's Empire, the majority, right? Not even a good film, but a great.
Yeah. But are we looking at it on the lens of compared to other Star Wars movie, or
If you
just
look,
compared to movies
if you
in
look at
general?
it if you look at it,
That's
it's
where
on
the
its own.
perception is because we can all say yes, it's the best sequel, but the other two movies are like here. It's easy to be the best as a whole the movies and now we have a bigger sample to look at when you look at the Phantom Menace and the issues with some of those and Return of the Sith and even with the last trilogy, right, where it
It
started,
started well,
where
and
Abrams
then
gives us something we wanted. It started well because that was all so based on it was 30 years later
of
of
course,
nostalgia,
yeah.
and it was so nostalgia heavy, and it evoked those emotions. But then it started well, and then the other two just went all over the place, and there was lack of consistency. And so now you see, look at a
That yeah.
9 movie span of history. It's really easy to say this is the best because everything else didn't even come close to meeting those expectations.
Maybe so, maybe not. It's hard to it's all subjective, right? But
It's hard
it's
to separate.
no.
Okay, is this a good movie because the other ones are not as good, or is this really a good movie that stands by
Let's talk
itself?
just
You
the
can
realm of
forget all
Star
the
Wars,
other
right?
8
You
movies.
mentioned about kids, right? You got the movie which is the best one by far, and that was the one that was not made for kids.
No,
And that's
that's
my
more
point. Right?
adult.
But you can do
But
both,
all the other ones, but then you have Ewoks, which
right?
was for the kids, and you have Phantom Menace,
Those
Jar Jar,
aren't right, and those
and
looked
Jake
at
Lloyd,
as
which is all very good.
subpar.
Now the Rise of the Sith, obviously it's that was probably because of the violence, probably wasn't really meant for kids. Because
And which
there's
is
a lot
the
of violent
best one?
stuff
Which is the
in
best
that
one
one,
of those three?
killing the younglings.
The Sith.
Oh, please, that one. But
The
probably
second three.
the second trilogy,
You
probably
see,
that one.
you see the pattern
Yes.
here, right?
Oh, yeah. No,
That's
no,
what
yeah, but you make a
and
show
that's
for
what I'm
adults,
saying,
it's
right?
different than we make it for kids. But all these TV shows haven't been
They have,
made for maybe
and which
Andor,
happen to be the best
maybe.
one. And that's what I'm
Well,
saying. But
yes,
there's a way of
yeah.
doing both. You can
But
like
the best one and
Mandalorian.
the one that
Yeah, I think
watched the most, which has been
Mandalorian.
watched the most, because it's obviously it's about eyeballs, it's not
But
about what's critically
then
the best.
they're watching the
I
most,
think
but they're not
at
getting
least for
watched that
Disney
much
Plus.
in the grand scheme of things. Let's be clear. And it's causing a lot of divide. And listen, and let's focus on Acolyte for a second. This is seeing what she got imprisoned, right?
Okay.
The main character is accused of killing
Yeah,
in a
in the
training
ship,
with
yes,
it
yes.
happened to be her twin sister. Just what
Yeah.
what
With the
right?
droid,
Lazy trope of the twin
driving the
sister.
ship.
Fair enough. We haven't seen twins before in Star Wars. So, she gets picked up, puts in the board.
Oh, well, you talking Luke and Leia?
I'm just,
Well, okay,
let's
but
be honest. Not the first time
whatever.
we heard. Okay.
Technically,
Okay.
yeah, they were twin babies, but they weren't.
I
They're
know,
not really
but they're
twins. Okay, yeah,
it's
fraternal
twins is a
twin.
twin.
It's
There, how you
not
want to break it down? We can get to
but
the science.
whatever.
We can do to the science in a different
Oh,
show.
don't,
Just,
dude. No, dude. But no, because
but we've seen twins in other
whatever,
films. That's what I'm saying, right? We've seen the whole twin thing. That's not new, right?
Well, look, is this Danny DeVito and
For
Arnold
twins is
Schwarzenegger?
8,000
No,
times.
okay.
So she gets in the board, right? The Jedi go arrest her, but the Jedi don't take her anymore. An individual, if you look on the surface, right? You're gonna capture a suspect who is accused of killing a master fighter, judo, whatever, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, accused,
Accused,
yes,
right?
not
But you have it
proven,
on
but
custody. This
obviously
is what the cops go to your house, right? You're known. You're so dangerous. You can kill the best of the best. That's dangerous, right? In their eyes, and you're being accused of that. They're gonna go arrest her and say, "Oh, here, give it to the orderlies. Can you take it to the things? I'm gonna go somewhere else." Right? That's bad in itself. But that
But is that a product
that's bad writing.
of
That's
the
bad
time?
writing.
Well, yeah, because if you think someone's a Jedi killer, you put it with a bunch of other criminals, which we don't know to what degree, how bad or how good they are. You know, and obviously at the time everything was more automated. I guess I
guess,
would relied on droids to handle
but the
the
droids who are
aircraft
handling
and
a
the
ship with
typical business.
a criminal with wait, hold on.
But
there's
I could
there's a
say
criminal
that
in there
they could set,
who controls
there's
androids. Why the fuck are you putting?
no.
Okay,
So like I said,
that's
yes.
what I'm saying. So
Or okay, yeah. So
it's
there's,
really
there's,
bad.
like I said, I'm not arguing that there isn't
But that's
shortcuts taken to advance their story,
right.
because I don't think they painted this as important, but they just thought that's the easiest way to portray it and to show. Now, does it make sense? Well,
But Star
sure,
Wars does
the
guy could be
could have been that different way. But Star Wars does that all the time. Star Wars does it all the time.
You have the Jedi who.
Even in Andor and all these shows that we love, that those shortcuts are taken
Yeah, but
for the sake of the story.
Cutting corners and barriers.
Right?
There's a way that you can do something and not have to do that, right? And even the Jedi killing himself, that was just a complete undeveloped and waste. So he's there for 10 years. Someone says, kill yourself. Oh, yeah, you're right. I could have killed myself 10 years ago. I could have killed myself. I don't understand that.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was
but,
as easy as that.
But then,
he recognized it. Well, he thought it was. He thought.
Right,
we
but that's what I'm saying.
What happened at that time?
And
we're gonna get to that.
It's bad writing. That really could have been a really cool scene. Her manipulating him to do it. Right. She's like,
maybe
hey,
explaining
take
more,
this. Okay, I'm dead. It's really
it
bad.
wasn't like that either.
It's really bad.
Obviously,
it's really bad.
It was. There was something going on where he did something.
But they don't show it, right?
I mean, you don't go into meditation for
Right.
10 years because I just want to sit there, because obviously you are trying to correct or address a guilt, and the best way to do it is it's basically isolate yourself from everyone and anything short of, here's an easy way out now. I'm in front of the person that I did it to, and she's giving me a way out. Right. She's giving me
that's
out.
What we're assuming, but the audience didn't have to assume that, is what I'm saying. You
well,
saw it.
That's what I saw.
That's fine.
I mean,
that's fine.
Because she
I'll give it to you this way.
She said it. Now, could they flashback or give us a little more exposition on that?
The fact that
she
it
actually
happens,
had to say it, so
but the fact that happens is
understand.
fine. Is how, like, for example, we take John Wick and it begins with him killing people. That's cool. He did this, and he says, "You guys, hold on. You saying you guys do something wrong to me? I'm gonna kill you." Yeah. It doesn't have the same effect as showing him when he's out of the business, his wife, the dog. Okay, right. This is what Star Wars did. They just got to the point where I'm just shooting people because you wronged me. It doesn't work. It doesn't have the effect, right? And that's called execution. That's called good writing, good directing. Kids show not. That's not an excuse to give us to take shortcuts, and it undermines the show. Right now we got potentially great show, just like it's a murder mystery where the murder mystery solved in 2 minutes after reveal it's a twin. Now you took away the whole premise of the murder mystery to throw away. This show is no longer murder. We know what the mystery is. You told us that in 5 minutes. What's the point? She could have been masked, killing Trinity and moving on, leaving a clue to as a red herring. Oh, it's this person, right? We know when they arrest her. We know it's not her. You don't tell me it's a twin. We know from the minute we see her, oh, it's a twin. It's bad writing. It's bad execution. It's like watching Glass Onion and show you that the guy killed the guy and then pretend to go through this whole murder mystery. Who done it? We know who did it. We saw it. We saw it. Right? Hello. And that's what Star Wars did in this show. And it's inexcusable. There's some good stuff here. There really is. But like every other show, just bogged down. And listen, Star Wars kids for not, it doesn't mean Star Wars can't be great. It doesn't mean that. And it should be great because we love it, right? But what show?
No. But they don't have there is no history of giving us great across multiple decades, multiple platforms,
but that's
things,
fine.
And so they built it all around.
Couldn't they aspire to be great? Is that a bad thing? Because you can't tell me this. This is putting the best foot forward.
As long as Kathleen Kennedy, like I said, as long as Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of this, no, I have no expectations for this. Because we know terrible. The history, and if she is still in charge, I'm not expecting it to be great. Will I be entertained? Yes. That I mean, will it be great? No. Will I be entertaining? Yes. Don't give me crap. It was elements of crap.
Which is why shows
there and watch it. But she's in charge, and don't expect greatness while she has the reins. And we begged 5 years ago. Do not renew the contract. This is not going to end well. This is not going to go well. We're going to get stuff. We're going to get a lot of stuff we're not going to like because she's in charge. And it's not about woke. It's not about any of the other excuses people want to throw out there, right? And we're not whitewashing it. She is not a good leader of a franchise. That there's someone that had to be
you can throw diversity.
Willing to not necessarily take chances and take chances and give us good story and be inclusive of a galaxy that's more utopian, probably more not as much as Star Trek, right? Where that was developed as this is the perfect society, right? And to a certain respect. And even when we started with the 60s, it was controversial because you had Uhura, who was black. We had different people. I mean, if anything, it was woke at a time where everything was anti-woke.
Back then, it needed to be. Back then, it needed that. We don't need that now. Like we don't need that now, right? There's plenty of. Listen, I always said 1,000 times and say it again, right?
No, we need good story, but it can't be.
In terms of wokeness,
I don't want. The KKK running the whole show either.
I'll say this.
It's gotta be even keel where it's representative of a vision of what a society should be or aspire to.
But it's overcorrected, right? Because, and I'll say this again, right? This is why I have the Latin Earth Network, because there's no race here has any right to come. I don't want to hear the inclusion, diversity from blacks, Asians, Native Americans, women. I don't want to hear that shit. Shut the fuck up. The only ones who complain is Latinos. That's it. That is the only race that is severely, egregiously underrepresented at 19% of the population, and they get less percentage than those who are 5, 13, most of black. I don't want to hear it. We don't need wokeness. This isn't the 60s or Star Trek. We don't need that mentality. It's there. We got plenty of shows of women, plenty of shows of black people all the time. Look at Acolyte. Every race is there, even sexual orientation, but Latinos the only one not represented. And we're 19% of the U.S. population, for Christ's sake, and not one. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
You know what, dude? You know what? In all fairness, a big swath of that 19% thinks they're white. So whatever.
That's fine. They can think that. A black guy can tell me he's white, but guess what? You ain't. You're not.
Well, okay, no, but a black guy can't get away with his wife. A Latino can easily get away with his wife.
Anybody can say the whatever, but right? Fine.
I'll throw out a couple names. Jessica Alba, who to this day swears she's as white as Wonder Bread. Okay,
we know.
Sure, whatever.
And my favorite, Oscar Isaac, the Uncle Tom, Tío Pepe of all Latinos.
Well, but he changed his name. It's Isaac. It's actually it's been
he's like 40 years old and now he's woke. Now he's awake.
Well, I'm not saying he did it. I mean, obviously, well,
For a long time, he misrepresented la raza,
hey,
man. He was
Pedro
not one of us.
Pascal. Pedro Pascal represents it, okay? Chile, let's go.
But no, no, being facetious. But ultimately, listen. Oh, yeah, this needs better writing. Like we should. It goes back to why is there so much excitement for a property which you admit we shouldn't be excited for, and that's always been my thing, right? Why we keep talking about Star Wars, even MCU when it's at right now it's down. Why get excited? Why get hyped for something you're probably going to end up getting mediocrity, and you know we're getting mediocrity, right? Why the hype? Let's be honest.
Because we're still interested in these stories,
We
and
are,
these characters, and this
and this again goes back to Captain Kenny. They need to start doing this better. If this show was better written, this would have been a really cool show.
Oh, it's not.
Oh, I know
it's not going to happen under her watch.
There's a lot of potential. And listen, and I didn't hate the Acolyte. I think it's middle of the road. Okay, great, but it's just Star Wars is the biggest franchise in movies, right? It is, in historically speaking. Maybe MCU may have surpassed it in recent years, but historically, Star Wars has been the franchise, the one, right?
Yeah.
Of all others of measure, right?
At least historically, until they finally start giving us more stuff,
the
fans,
right?
We're begging and begging.
Deserves better. It really does.
But
it did recently.
At least through Endgame. At least when it went through that 10-year run through Endgame. I mean, there was like Star Wars wasn't even running.
I'm just talking about historically speaking, but it's still big, right?
Yeah. Because they gave us entertaining movies, they gave us great movies, they gave us great stories and great characters, and they gave us now we started diving into TV, okay, hit or miss. I like some, you like some, whatnot. But they surpassed Star Wars. They have. It wasn't even a contest. And now that they've come back, but until Star Wars gives us great, it's never going to be what MCU was. But there's a strive to be that, because for that run, when we were, that was a stellar run.
Absolutely.
That everyone tried to copy,
failed. But Star Wars, I think, despite the fact that Star Wars was down,
they have the potential to do it. Not when she's leading. And like I said, she has an extensive history. She's been a great producer. She's been involved in a lot of stuff.
She's just a shit executive. There's a difference.
How Disney can still view her as the right person to lead this franchise into the future is beyond. I don't know what tape she has, what deal she's made, because and again, it comes down to is this stuff making money for them? If it wasn't making money for them, it'd probably be a much easier decision to say, we got to change that.
I looked at the last three films, all made $1 billion. They all made $1 billion. But I mean, I could have been at the top instead of my ass and done nothing, and that movie would have made and that movie would have made $1 billion. It would have just would. It's Star Wars. Of course, it's make $1 billion. Not because of her, because it's the property, right? It's just be honest. It is what it is, right? MCU, we're making $1 billion all the time. The quality goes down. They stopped doing that. There's a correlation there. But when it first started off, $2 billion for The Force Awakens. $2 billion has zero to do with the Captain Cannon.
But it took a while because Captain America,
but people, right? But
they were nowhere near that, But they were building.
Yeah,
they were building.
But I think
they got there.
It's gonna bite them in the ass. They're not gonna make another $1 billion film. Not anytime soon. If the MCU can do it, I guarantee you Star Wars can't do it. I promise you that. It's not gonna happen. Not until the MCU can turn the ship around, and that's they got Kathleen Kennedy's the problem. Forget it. You're right. Woke, not woke. I don't give a fuck. Bad writing. It's Kathleen Kennedy. At the end of the day, she's employing these people. She's in charge. Like Kevin Feige gets all the credit. And I told Eric, he dismisses the fact that when things go bad, it's his fault too. And that's great. Because
they're
the quarterback. They're the quarterback.
Because we've seen how many directors they fired because they didn't want to play ball. All right, we've seen it, and these are bad directors and stuff. I mean, the infamous Lord and Miller.
They're legit.
Man,
they're really good.
They were great. Yes,
really good.
They are absolutely. Look at Into the Spider-Verse.
Look
at the Lego movie. I mean, and I so wish I could see the solo Lord Miller cut, man, because I want to see what their vision was for that.
It might have been great. I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can only imagine that it's not.
I think it probably
it can't be worse.
The way it could be worse. Not that it's that bad. I mean, looking back, it's probably not as bad as it was. But what we expected it to be. Vanilla. Well, no, it's vanilla. Vanilla. Hey man, put in a strawberry and it's great. Vanilla's vanilla.
It wasn't a great film, right? I'm not saying it's awful, but it's not a good one. But either way, Lord of Miller, I would assume, gun to my head, they probably do a much better job. I don't know what to tell you. I'll go the body of work, right? Just evidence shows that they're good.
Yeah. I mean, the directors they brought on, these are directors that done good stuff. I mean, this director, what did she do? She's come from, was it Russian Doll? Is that what she
I
did
blame her
before?
to a
Or
degree, but it's and
yeah,
I tell Eric this all the time. And in TV, the writing is more important, and movies, the director is more important.
yeah, because it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
different medium,
And
right?
the
These are
director, yeah, they're just
2 hours
giving a template. Just do it
versus
here.
10 hours.
It's not their
Yes.
vision because they're not developing the show, right? It's a showrunner, i.e., the writers. In a movie, it's all direct. It's all their vision, all their ideas. They have all the input. Yeah, there's a script, and but a good director take a shitty script and make something good out of it. They really can't. In TV, you can't do that. You just can't. It's not the same thing.
No, the movie editing becomes a much bigger piece because you're trying to cut this,
Right. It's
get to the
different.
story
Exactly. You
quickly,
two
right?
hours.
Two
You
hour
write a script
span.
for two
Yeah.
hours. Yeah.
But good editing
Absolutely.
can
Right.
make it great, can take some garbage stuff, make it great, and can
Yeah.
take a lot of great stuff and make it garbage.
Yeah.
Because you
And again,
slice and
so
dice
TV
the
is
way
about
it makes
direction,
those
right?
stuff.
And that's
Yeah.
part of what Kathleen Kennedy is there for,
Mhm.
right? To usher in whatever the vision is, right? Or lack in this case, they're lack thereof, right? Their ideas, and she's a great producer. She's a Hall of Famer, if there's such a thing, right? No doubt about it. But she's an executive and she's ass. I'm sorry, she's awful. It's awful, and it's just. And you're right. I've done, and I tell her all the time. I'm not every time I say you should Star Wars show. Okay, whatever. I don't get excited. I don't get excited anymore, right?
I mean,
I don't get excited.
I
I
still get
want to,
excited
but I'm
because
not.
it's something new. Because I want to see
Oh,
something. Like I said, I was begging for
I'm
non-Star Wars
watching
stuff,
it. Yeah, I'm watching
Skywalker
because I'm hopeful
universe
as a fan. Like, let's
forever,
see, this is the one. But I'm
right?
not going to say this is the one anymore. I'm
Yeah.
not doing. I'm like, okay, let's see. All right, status quo. Move on. Right, that's exactly what we're getting. It's fine. It's fine. Whatever. Right. You can see you now. It's like I'm just. Let's see. Deadpool is an exception because it's Deadpool. Come on. Come on.
Yeah. But hopefully this stuff starts to go back. I mean, it's been a down slope. Maybe Deadpool brings it to okay. Now here's your
Nowhere
bottom.
to go but up.
Let's go back up again, right? because well, yeah, but
Oh, no.
at least they recognize some of their
The course
mistakes, right?
correcting.
They cut everything. Yeah, I mean, they cut movie. I mean, like I said, we got nothing this year except for Deadpool. I mean, and so they definitely say, okay, let's reevaluate. At least they recognize within themselves what was going on. They didn't just say, oh, we're still making money, but
and that's
no,
yeah.
and say, okay, let's course correct. This is a story we need to go back to, and in spite of all the drama from Kang and all this other stuff that's
out
happening
of control.
outside and what was going on,
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
what it is, right?
that is
What are you gonna do?
unfortunately right. But okay, here's your bottom again. Let's course correct. Let's reset these shows, and we have some right, but let's make them into a cohesive story again. Not just give us a bunch of movies that are going to feed into the space. What's kind of what phase 4 was just literally a bunch of movies trying to set up all this stuff for the next phase, right? Versus let's have these flow in a way that makes sense where it leads to the next, and builds to the next Avengers movie, whatever that is. And okay, no, let's stop, let's fix, let's rewrite, and now let's go back up again. Now, hopefully it works. I mean, I want it to work because as an MC for me was at that time we literally were this is recent history.
You were excited for MCU,
man.
right?
It was like,
and rightfully so.
Yeah. You see next movie? I mean, yeah, next movie.
Yeah, we're excited. Can't
let's go.
wait. That's the feeling we want. I mean, we want out of Star Wars. We want out of Star Wars, and there's no reason to believe that. At least MCU's they're not downturn, but we've seen them at their peak and recent peak, and it's great.
Yeah,
it's fine. But Star Wars, we haven't got a Star Wars peak yet. We're not even close to a peak yet, and with the exception of 40, 50 years ago, for Christ's sake.
Well, like in
recent history, we haven't got anything like okay. All right. Mandalorian's great. It's cool. I love Mandalorian, but you're right. It's not a great show. Let's be honest, right? It's not.
No, it's a really good show. It's a really good show.
But at least I think that one toes the line between adults and kids more than any other show that they've done, right?
Yeah, with Grogu, and again, it's not sophisticated writing.
But it's not bad writing either. Right? So at least and that's what I'm saying. When it's bad, it ruins everything. It can just be okay writing. That's fine, right? These other shows the writing's been bad, and that's Mandalorian 3 was bad, and that look what we got. But they were doing good for a while. But it balanced it, and there were maybe, like I said, it was more adult, maybe too much to one skew to one side. But there's a happy medium. Mandalorian had that happy medium,
Yeah, because it was great.
No one watched it, right?
But no one watched it.
Oh, agree.
This is what I'm talking about. Nobody watched it. As much as we enjoyed it, and critically,
sure.
I mean, it got recognized, but
nobody watched it.
Nobody watched it. And it was because was it too adult? or because it wasn't that good. The people didn't watch it because it was a
No,
bad
I
show,
think yes,
and it wasn't good because it was like there was a string of
it
bad
missed that
shows. Like
element where it
I'm just
brought in
gonna
the
here's there.
families and the fun.
HC
It's not
Star
a
Wars
fun show,
anymore.
and in that term where like that's what I'm saying. Mandalorian had that great
No,
balance. It's fun,
no.
just enough adult with decent writing, not great, right, but decent enough writing where it's not just insulting bad writing, right? They do stupid shit, and it's not Keystone Cops in that show. It's not right. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's fun. That's what we need. We need, you know.
I got three guys chasing Leia,
Come
none
on,
of them can get her. It's a little kid.
I
There's
swear to
no
God,
powers, no
it
nothing,
was fun. Oh,
no
talk about an old
weapons.
reference. It was Benny Hill. We had them. Dun, dun,
No,
dun,
no,
dun,
no,
dun,
no,
dun,
no,
dun,
no,
dun, dun.
no, no,
Imagine put the
no, no, no,
music.
no.
I'm sure you can edit with that music, and I'd be like, "Oh my God, it's Benny Hill." It just
Benny
it's
Hill.
what it is, right?
Jesus Christ, they think
I mean, that's
themselves. Good Lord. Half the audience. I think
oh, you don't
3/4
know
of the
who the hell
audience is
Benny
saying,
Hill
who the
is,
fuck is
and I
Benny Hill?
get it,
Google
right?
it.
But look him up. Either way, for those you know what I'm talking about, right? It's just ridiculous. But yeah, we went over long. But listen, it is what the state of Star Wars is where it's at. It's mediocrity. It's fine. Yeah, I was watching Amadeus there. It's Salieri, right? They're mediocre. You know, you got other
Solid. Oh
properties. You got
my
Game of
God.
Thrones. That's Amadeus, right? It's like, okay, it is what it is. You have to accept it. Salieri accepted in the end, right? He was a champion for mediocrity. That's what Kathleen Candyman just let her throw end up in a hospital and tell her story. It is what it is, right? Salieri of the movie world, dude. There we go. If you take anything,
I'm the king of it. Wasn't that one of the lines? And the movie at the end, he was like, I'm
yeah,
the king of I forgot, I'm the king of
he's the oh my God,
mediocrity,
he's the
something like
saint, the
that.
patron saint of yeah
He's the patron saint
mediocrity. That's
of
what they are. They're
mediocrity or
just
something like that.
mediocre. It's
Right.
not a bad thing, but you're not Mozart. That's just the bottom. Right? It is, but you can hate on the other ones. You know, it is. For a while, MCU was Amadeus. What a great movie that was. I don't know. It was needing Netflix. I put on, but yes,
Awesome
yeah,
movie.
man, that's a good
Awesome
amount to use
movie.
that understanding. But yeah, Salieri equals Star Wars. That's it. It is what it is. So that being said, just real quick. Next week, just quick reminders. We got Lazarus comes out today. The Lazarus Project on TNT. We got Brat's the Brat Pack documentary on Hulu on the 13th, same day, and Chewie. Contain yourself. The boys are back. That's again on the 13th, dropping 3 episodes coming for that. I presume Innocent,
Yeah.
Mike
Too many
Gyllenhaal's gonna be
episodes,
on
but
the
whatever.
14th, and then on the 12th, I forgot we got the Kings of the King of Collectibles.
Right.
Yeah,
King Color
yeah,
season 2.
yeah,
Yes,
very
it's
cool
great. That's
show,
a that's a
reality
good
show on
reality
that
show.
one, and then of course the other big piece along with the boys next Sunday is of course Game
Sunday.
of Thrones. Choose your side. We're dropping its one release. We'll
Oh, Team
newsflash
Green.
next week's. Yeah,
I'm sorry,
in 2 weeks we'll
Go
be
Team Black.
featuring Game
Sorry,
of
my
Thrones. We're
bad.
featuring the boys next week. Who we're kidding? But hopefully one of these other shows are good too.
That's
So
it.
that's next week as well. That being said, that's all we got for today. Star Wars fans rejoice. It can't get any worse. Yeah, it can. It is what it is. But yeah, join us here every Sunday. The Watchlist, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and we'll see you guys next week.